Hello, everybody. How's it going? It has been a very, very long time since we have made any kind of video, any type of content. I'm truly sorry. I want to apologize, but things have been extremely hectic here. I've had things going on with work, uh, things that I don't, I don't even want to talk about right now, but also it's the holiday season. And so I'm extremely busy at work. There's things going on here at the house, retic wise, nothing bad, but just moving things around, this and that. It's just nonstop. Uh, so, like I said, it's been a long time. Today, this evening, this video that we're going to do, it's mainly we're just going to talk retics. We're going to have a conversation. We might stumble on some topics and talk about certain things for a little bit, but on the most part, just going to talk about retics and whatnot. And you see behind me, that's my son Ian. Uh, he said he wanted to sit in on this. He may go at any point in time when if he gets bored, but he helps me out a great deal. Uh, he is well, both him and my other son have been around retics ever since they were babies. Uh, but he helps out a great deal. He takes care pretty much of all the small stuff, cleaning, feeding, and whatnot. And so, anyhow, what's up, Chips? Been a long time.
It has, and it's few and far between because I've had a lot of personal stuff going on, a lot of death in the family, a lot of health issues, a lot of personal issues, and then work's been absolutely hectic as all get out. So um, James really wanted to do this, and I can't let my boy down. So we're just going to do a live. We don't have anything scheduled, no guests or anything like that. So we're just gonna pick James's brain and talk about different things, and James is gonna get some stuff off his chest, and you're gonna learn some stuff about James and his opinions.
My opinions, yeah. Today's the day. Gonna learn today, I guess. Whatever the shit Chip's talking about, but anyhow, so let's get it popping. Um, I okay, so there's been some things on my mind. Oh, I also want to say this, okay, real quick. So I bought a brand new GoPro Hero 10 thing, right? You're not gonna see my fat ass. You ain't gonna see no videos of my fat ass swimming with some fish or doing some loop de loops on a bike or no bullshit like that. But uh, I plan on uh, vlogging and stuff like that. I always have stuff that pops in my head, and I'm like, damn, maybe I should, record this and that. Also, I'm going to use it to try to get some really, really good video and pictures of the animals. So, okay, enough of that. You'll sleep better now that you know that shit. Um, but some things that um see retic wise, there's things that I read and I hear about, like, people talk about different bloodlines and whatnot. Uh, Chip knows what I'm talking about. Um, I don't know. I guess I'll start out with I have several Sulas here at here and whatnot, and people will say reed line or whatever the case, or this other line and everything. And uh, first of uh, all those animals, all the Sulas that were that Jason's, those were mine. I bought them. They were mine. So they're not a fucking reed line. They're mine. Um, uh, I don't know how to, well, you didn't breed them. Well, no, they were fucking almost, 3.5 hours away from me, Uh, um, Jason and I, when we were doing things together, I'm not talking bad about him, nothing like that. So don't take it that way. But, that this whole reed line shit, especially when it comes to shit that literally belong to me. Nah, that shit needs to stop. Uh, when we were doing stuff together, it was basically, hey, why don't we bring, uh, some of these animals. I took all my Anthrax stuff. I took all my Sula stuff. Some dwarf stuff was already up there. Some dwarf stuff was already at Jim's. But anyhow, besides that, And the whole thing around that was, well, he's got females coming in the season, this and that, and it's, hey, we put these animals together, and the pheromones and shit and everything, and uh, maybe get everything popping, breeding wise and whatnot. And we're good friends and shit, so fuck it, yeah, let's do it. Didn't bother me none. Um, but at the end of the day, all that anthrax shit, mine, fucking no, fucking read line. And then the whole read line, what is that about? Or uh, and you think about it, like the Sulas that I got coming in, they were all wild caught animals, okay? And I know some other people uh, had some wild caught Sulas in, and the way my mine worked, at least especially back then, was they all came from the island of Sulawesi, right? And so I didn't understand why all of a sudden I had my own line and so had their own line, whatever. It was the same fucking species, same locality. Nobody was inventing like a new wheel,
It's
anything.
it's it's the same concept of back in the day when everybody had berms, and most of them were wild caught, and everybody was breeding berms to albinos and making head albinos. It wasn't anybody's certain line. Those berms didn't necessarily come from Burma or Myanmar. They probably came from all over that fucking region, but nobody claimed to have this line or that line. It's the same thing. Yeah, it's a big island, but it's still, we're not talking about the Bhutan island. We're not talking about certain different localities. It's all that stuff came in, and it wasn't anybody's line. You weren't making an albino line, a Clark strain line of albino or anything like that. It was literally just a wild caught locality brought in.
Right. Now I if you have certain animals or whatever, and you're breeding, generation after generation, and you're picking out holdbacks because you like uh a certain pattern, you like thin lines, thick lines, whatever, and you're breeding for that, and then after generations of breeding, everybody knows that, hey, this animal comes from so and so, that animal could that look, you know what I mean? Then I get that, you know what I mean? Or if you have a new, like a new, say for instance, like Jay and his titaniums, Chris McVicker, he had his wild caught titanium. You could I can consider that a different line, possibly. Um, but you know, I don't know. That's just I don't know. Maybe, it's not that, maybe it's not that big a deal, but it's kind of,
It's
you know,
not that it's not a big deal. It's just ridiculous because the retic people are turning into ball python people, and that's what it comes down to. Yeah, we've got an incredible diversity of retics now that compared to what we had in the late '90s and early 2000s. But the thing is, we're not on the ball python level, with the different axanthic lines or the different this and that. There's no lines here, you know. There's not enough genetic diversity to even say lines. You can inbreed the crap out of a certain species and say, yeah, that's mine. Well, that's just inbreeding, and there's no claim to fame there. And the your Sulas weren't bred that much, and they weren't intermingled, and you didn't sell that many of them, and it's not necessarily, anything to go on. That's what, when people say this stuff, like, then why isn't there a Sumatran line? Why isn't there a Borneo line? Why isn't there, a Malaysian line? All this other stuff, because it's ridiculous to say that. It's absolutely ridiculous.
well,
So,
yeah, go ahead.
well, my point to that is when I hear these lines, and especially the read line really is hilarious to me, but um, you can't sit there and be like, this line's better than that line, or that line is better than this line, or whatever, because in reality, they were all just from a certain area. There's, unless you have, which we can't anymore, unless you can interdiverse the species, unless you worked with that exclusively and you watch this and it throws this genetic thing every single time. There's no lines here. It's just, I had, or you had these Sulas that you bought that were wild caught. They were bred. You produced them. They were pure Sulas, and they were sold. And they were made by you guys, but they aren't a line of Sulus.
It's just like the Anthrax stuff, you know. You look at the Anthrax stuff that we made and whatnot, and I wouldn't even consider that. I mean, but we bred it. We bred the Anthrax stuff a certain way to where ours did look different. And way to go, Chip. Way to go. We got to edit that shit.
If you knew how.
True. That's why I got him. He's supposed to be taking classes and shit. Anyhow, what the fuck was I talking about? So our Anthrax stuff. It's, you know, we didn't. It wasn't a thing where we wanted to put Anthrax in every single thing. Anthrax. I love the Anthrax gene and whatnot. So we try to keep it as pure as possible. You know what I mean? So we didn't muddy it up or anything like that. So our stuff stood out, you know, it just stood out from everybody else that was putting it to every single thing, because, you know, at the end of the day, you ain't shit unless you have a world's first or something. Whatever.
Well, you also got to realize back then there was only a handful of people working with that gene.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, you look at it now, and I mean, there was something, you know what, there was a good point I had driving, and I can't even remember. I wanted to talk about Anthrax stuff and granite back. So back in the day, all the het Anthrax stuff was called granite backs because the way that the hets look. So they had, I mean, it literally looked like a separate morph. It did. You know what I mean?
It came from the granite Burmese python because from the head back, it had that granite pattern.
And it looked like literally like you know, like its own thing. And it got to the point where people were making these animals and putting it in everything that the hets they came out, and they didn't have that granite looking anymore. They were still het Anthrax. They would still produce Anthrax by all means, but they didn't look like granite backs, you know? And I remember that causing all kinds of shit because people still call them granite backs and everything because that's what Nerd called them, you know? It's just like, you know, Jay calling his het titanium stuff Citron, you know? And now, you know, you don't call them granite backs anymore. They're het Anthrax.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. There was a point to that because there was something in my mind that when I was driving, and I wanted to touch on that, and I fucking don't.
I need to get a notepad and write shit down.
It's hard for me to fucking write and drive at the same goddamn time.
You can't even talk and drive at the same time.
Oh, motherfucker, I want something to break out of a cage.
He knows what I'm saying. He knows what I'm saying. This guy.
You don't laugh, Ian. Fuck. Don't you be laughing at him. Fucking goofy bitch. But what else?
Your back, Ian. Don't worry.
What else? What else is popping? What else is going on?
Keep going with your point.
Well, you know, I don't remember. You know, I think we pretty much touched on it. When it comes to, you know, lines and stuff like that. Unless you're doing something special and you actually are inventing something different, I don't get that. You know, the whole you look at like, you know, something, you produce something and it's got more silver on it. It's still the same thing. There's nothing really new about it, but people will go, oh, it's the silver line. What? No, the fuck it isn't. No, it's not. It's not a silver line because there's silver on it, bitch. Until you're producing that, and every time you produce it, that's what you're getting, then we can say that's the chip silverline, whatever, you know. That's just my opinion. Uh, it is what it is. At the end of the day, everybody who's going to watch this, uh, whatever animals you have, they can be whatever fucking line you want them to be. They're your animals. It's you spent the money. You're the one that feeds them and takes care of them. This is just my opinion about shit. But
Well, what's funny about it is everybody's wanting to breed morphs and everybody's fucking putting everything they can together, and then all of a sudden something a little slightly bit different comes out, and it's either a new morph or a new line or a new variant or whatever. It's gotten so muddied and so much about bullshit and world's first that they don't sit there and realize that in the wild, your wild type, normal looking reticulated pythons, you can go into the jungle in any one of the islands or on the mainlands, and you'll never find two that are alike. And, a lot of them in the same area have a very different look to them. High silver, super dark, high yellow, small diamonds, big rosettes, small rosettes, different hues, all sorts of stuff. And so when you're producing all these morphs, instead of thinking about how there can be just slight variants that won't be genetic, just have a slight variant, they're so convinced that they created something new or something spectacular different, or now they have their own line, that they sit there and run their mouth about it. It's like you have no idea about these animals and the different variants there are out there. And just like in Sulawesi, there's so many different Sulas. I saw people here in the United States that have never dealt with wild caught animals and only seen the inbred captive bred animals and all this other stuff say that's not a Sula to somebody that literally lives on Sulawesi and caught one in their backyard. And they're like, that's not a Sula. It's like, really? It's like you don't know anything. These people are all experts now. And, I'm not in any of the groups anymore except for one. And I'm barely on the social media. And it's still the same crap. Nothing's changed. Everybody's an expert now. But my biggest kick of all is you've got these people, especially like that run businesses, telling other people that have been doing it a lot longer, that have worked with wild caught animals, that have been hands-on with their animals just about every single day, telling them that they don't know what they're doing. They don't know anything about retics when these people have been around for 4 or 5 years. And everybody's an expert now. And it's hilarious to see that it's nothing but a bunch of idiots that want to run their mouth, and they've run off all the knowledgeable people that can actually do some real good. And this country is still going to lose all the rights to own these animals because you've got these people that don't want to listen. They want a world's first. They want their own lines. They want all this. They want all that. They want to breed whatever they can to whatever they can because so-and-so did it. And instead of learning about the animals, learning about the history, learning where they come from and how you can interact with them. There's a reason people, very reputable people, call them one of the smartest snakes. But they don't. And half of the people are scared of these animals, and they buy them for money. They buy them for a world's first, or they buy to show off. And it drives me nuts when I watch people that have been doing this their whole life and don't pop up on social media, and then talk to another person that's been doing it their whole life and talking to them and congratulating them, and then someone pops up and they literally don't know anything about these snakes other than a money value or a morph value, and be like, You don't know what you're talking about. You're doing things wrong. You're doing things dangerous, blah, blah, blah. And that's pretty much why I got out of it, because I'm focusing on the animals. And people that, and this is coming back to your point. I know it's a long winded answer, but, you know, I, to this line stuff that is, people are claiming is because they don't care to know about the history. They don't care to know about the truth. It's whatever spoon-fed bullshit they were given to make themselves look better, or they want to get in on somebody's good side. They don't know the work that someone's put into something. You
Well,
know,
yeah, it is what it is. I mean, I get it, you know, and it's going to be like that forever and ever and ever. Always. It's always going
it's
to be like
not
that.
going to be when everything's taken away from them.
Well, it doesn't, whether it's retics or ball pythons or whatever, corn snakes, whatever the case may be. Um, it's gonna, you know, it is what it is. They're everybody's always going to be experts, this and that, and that's fine. Um, you know, uh, my suggestion though is to like I have a friend uh that made a comment about trying to uh get his name on the map or whatever, and I get that. If you have, it's human nature. You're doing this. You have a passion for these animals, um, and everything, and it's always it's nice to have some type of recognition by all means, that kind of stuff. But I told the person, and I'm not naming names or nothing like that, but I told the person to be patient. Said to be patient. He said, do everything like you're supposed to, and it'll come. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Do what you're supposed to be doing. Take care of the animals properly and everything. And it's just like when it comes to breeding and whatnot. Yeah, there's little things that you can do to push it along and whatnot, but I look at things differently now than I did back then, and they're ready when they're ready. So just be patient. Uh, do things the right way, and people will know you for that, because you're gonna have healthy, beautiful animals. They're gonna be able to look at your animals and see that you care. Never stop learning. Always want to learn different stuff and everything. Try to be as nice as possible with people, and you're going to be fine. That's the best advice I could get you. Give you, and having your name or being on the retic maps really not that. It is what it is. You know what I mean? It's not that. There's and all. There's only one Bob. There's only one fucking Jay. There's only one fucking Kevin. And everybody that's doing this, everybody who's been doing this for a long time, I don't care what your collection looks like. I don't care how well you're known. When those guys are done, when they're fucking done, whether they retire, they give it up, or heaven forbid pass away, whatever the case may be, nobody's taking their spot. There's never going to be a new Bob. There's never going to be a new Jay. There's never going to be a new Kevin. Period. Um, so it is what it is. That's all I got to
I
say about that. Huh?
no, my perspective, the whole thing is different. Watching this for 30 plus years, we're at the worst time, and that's why I walked away from the social media shit, because I don't care who has what. I don't care if my name's out there. I don't care if um, I am not looked at by some famous breeder or asked to be on every YouTube podcast. I could care less. I've been about education for the majority of the time. I don't talk about what I have. I don't talk about, what I do. The people that are closest to me do know. Um, there's only one or two people that have ever been in my place, and none of them are retic people. They are reputable reptile people. Um, and yet my name is still in people's mouths. Like they know me. Like they know what I have. Like they know what I keep stuff in. Like they know what I do. And I find that hilarious considering I live literally in the middle of nowhere, North Dakota. If anybody wants to look on the map, find the scarcest place in western North Dakota, eastern Montana, and the barren landscape of the Badlands, and that's where I live. And tell me how many retic people live remotely close to me and where my nearest airport is. And I don't care about recognition, and I don't care, but you people have seemed to be running their mouth about me and what I do and how I do things and know what I have when they've never even been here. And I find that hilarious. It just goes to show you what a lot of these reputable people like to talk about when they have no clue what they're talking about. And I'm for the animals, and I do this for the enjoyment of the animals. I don't sit there and post. I don't sit there and do a bunch of stuff every day. I'm not trying to promote a business. I'm not trying to breed the shit out of these things. I spend my days enjoying these animals, even through the tough times that I've been through the past few months. I still love coming down here and sitting down and watching these animals and interacting with these animals and having my family do the same thing, learning new behaviors, because I don't care who you are with these animals. They will teach you something new if you take the time and respect and watch and learn and interact with them. And they're incredible animals. And I don't care about who knows me for what snakes. I care about my animals first. And I think most people should be doing that. And yeah, it's fun to share what you have, but sometimes it's more important to take the time off of social media and off of trying to get recognition and spending time with your animals. If you treat these animals like you would your dog or your cat or your kids, you will have much more fulfillment than just trying to get recognition for some more for whatever. There's a lot to learn about these animals, and especially with the laws around. If more people had a mindset of animals first before anything, then I think it'd go a lot longer way.
No, yeah,
And
yeah,
that's
but
my opinion.
yeah, I mean, unfortunately, no matter, in a perfect world, say everybody, everybody was doing things how you think people should be doing things, and there wasn't shitheads and this and that. Unfortunately, there's still going to be people out there. You got PETA and fuck
Oh yeah.
cars like that. They're gonna, it is what it is. But you know, just I don't know what to say. It's always going to be people. It's always going to be people ruining things and stuff like that. I'm not going to let them ruin it for me. You know what I mean? That's just the way there's people that get on my nerves, and I have my days where, people, in the hobby can piss me off just like, anybody else. But at the end of the day, I got to concentrate on what I'm doing, and I got to concentrate on my animals and stuff like that. And I can't let those people fuck my shit up. It's Ian, come here. Get up here. So like
Yeah, I wanted to ask him a question.
it's
He
it's
really got up close. Did you see that, man?
yeah. It's like it does it makes me so happy to see him deal with these animals and stuff like that, so I mean, you want to ask him the question? Go ahead.
Yeah. Very, very simple, Ian. Why do you like the pythons that your dad keeps? Answer honestly with whatever you want. No pressure.
I don't really have a specific reason. Like I like handling them. I think they're like cool and stuff. They're fun to take care of. I think they're really interesting and stuff like that.
Well, you've been around them your whole life pretty much off and on, and you've seen them up at Jason's facility and all that. And now your dad's got them right there in your house, and you're dealing with them on a daily basis. You know, when you go in there, do you look at them any differently every day, or does new things surprise you?
Sometimes new things surprise me. I would kind of like walk in there and they're like doing something I haven't seen them do before. I think that's cool. That's something new that I've seen before, so that's interesting.
You like dealing with all the babies and stuff?
Yes, sir.
I like how he's very military with you, and he gives me an open answer.
So what's cool about so he just turned 16 in October, right? And the babies that we have, and well, you can't see because he's in front of the rack, but anyhow,
yeah, it's fine.
So he's 15, and he helped pull his first retic clutch. You know, he helped me do that. He helped me set them up. You know, and like I tell him, you know, the thing, like, he don't get it. He likes them and everything, and it's just like the other boy. He likes them and shit, but he's, he likes to. He likes to, I guess, tell to know that we have them and shit, but he don't like really messing with them. But like I tell him all the time, I said, "Boy, you're spoiled." I said, you don't. He's around it all the time. So what we do, there's such a small group of us, and I'm like, son, you realize that you really, nobody deals with reticulated pythons. One of the babies bit him in the finger. I was like, son, how many people that gotten bit by a baby retic? You know what I mean? Like, it's not a big deal to him or anything like that. But when you stop, if you have your family, you got kids or something like that, even y'all who are watching this that deal with these animals, it's pretty amazing what we do. You think about it. Look, if for anybody going to watch this and for some reason you don't know where these animals come from, Google it. Look on a goddamn map, see where these animals are coming from, realize what you have. It's pretty cool. It's pretty amazing because there's not a whole lot of us. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think it's really cool. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of mind blowing sometimes, and I, trying to, it's kind of hard to explain, and it's kind of hard to get it through his head to understand how awesome this, how cool this is, how, because, not everybody does this shit,
No. And still, I mean, minimum 90% of the big snake community, and we're talking berms, anacondas, scrubs, rocks, retics. A lot of those people, 90% of them, have zero respect for the animal. They don't look at it the way I look at it or the way you look at an animal. When you're looking at a snake, whether it's a baby or an adult, and where they come from, and that you're keeping this. I mean, you got a big retic. It's basically like keeping a tamed wolf. You got this huge animal that you built a bond with, that you work with every day, and not everybody has. And very few people have in the big picture of it. And it's just an awesome experience to be able to work with these and hand raise these animals and interact with them. And, yeah, I have morphs, but, I can look at a morph and look at a wild caught, and there's differences, obviously, but there's still an incredible animal to have in your hands and be able to experience on a daily basis. And that's why I can come down to my snake room and just be like, sit here in my chair and watch these animals and interact with these animals. And I don't have to have my YouTube up or be on Facebook posting about it. I'm just still in awe of them. And I'm like, this is so awesome. And it's relaxing to me. And I get pure enjoyment out of these animals. And that's where I'm coming from with it.
People want to be, listen to what he said. So people who are keeping these animals and want to breed successfully, you know, that's key. Literally, that's key. Um, it is. I mean, I think, you know what I mean? Doing this for years and years and years and being around it and everything like that. You don't, this is my opinion. At the end of the day, y'all do whatever shit y'all want to do. But you know, it's more gratifying for me when I'm taking the time to pay attention to what's going on. I'm not pushing these animals. And what I mean by that, like I'm, you know, I feed everything a certain way. Um, I'm not trying to get them to a certain size at a certain time. I'm literally trying to do the right thing and do what's best for the animal. Um, my mentality now is that the healthier the animals are, the healthier the clutch, the healthier the baby. That's, you know what I mean? And you do what you do everything that you possibly can to make the animals happy as, you know, as possible. And that's hard. That's hard. That's where you as a keeper, uh you have to pay attention to what's going on and listen to others and want to learn and stuff like that, because you know people hear, you know, I'm gonna repeat myself all the goddamn time, you know. So it is what it is. But you know, like I said, you know, when I walk into the house, my dogs are going to be happy because I'm not in there, and I know that they're happy. I can tell that they're happy. You know, these some bitches, they're not wagging their tail because they're happy to see me or whatever. You know, they have one expression on their face and everything like that. So it's, you have to do what you're supposed to do, and you're supposed to pay attention to them and take care of them and all this other stuff. When it comes time that you actually do have a successful breeding and you've done all these things and you've done it correctly, I mean, and you have beautiful eggs and everything goes right in incubation, then this is just saying that everything goes right, because all kinds of things can happen, you know. But then you have, you know, everything hatches out and they're beautiful and they're healthy. Man, that's just awesome. You know, it's it's really awarding because you know what, it costs money. These animals cost a lot of money. The bigger they get, the harder they are to handle. Like they're right in.
Yes, sir.
You know, uh, you're taking time out of every day to try to bond with these animals, because you know, let's not bullshit around. Uh, these are apex predators. They can fuck you up. I mean, it's, you know what I mean. Uh, so we're doing all these things to bond with them and all this other stuff. So when, like for me, the have a clutch and everything, it's just it's truly rewarding. You know, uh, it doesn't matter. You know, at the end of the day, you know, literally what it is or anything like that. It's just, you know, for me, that's part of keeping. Now, it doesn't always have to. Keeping these animals doesn't have to be about breeding. And a lot of people need to understand that. Just because you have a retic or berm or ball pythons or some geckos or whatever like that, just because you have them, you don't have to breed the animals. You can just take care of them, enjoy them, for what they are. But I like the whole process, the whole thing. So, but I think, like I said, sorry about being long winded, but I think that, especially the people coming up, if take the time, be patient, try to learn as much as you can. Don't think you know everything. Learn, listen to other people, pay attention to your animals. Do not push them. Let them do their thing. Uh, it's going to be truly rewarding. It is, at least for me. So, yeah, I'm off my soapbox. We can talk about some other shit now.
Get back on your soapbox. Let's hear some more gripes.
Well, I don't really. Well, okay. So what the shit? Let's.
Mr. Mitchell calls me up and goes, we need to talk about what we've talked about while we're having private conversations.
Right. So bring some of that, because I don't even remember. So it's spur of the moment. I'm spontaneous. That's the reason why I got the GoPro shit thing that I'm gonna set up and everything.
Hey, Ian, how's your dad working that GoPro?
I haven't even set it up yet.
Yeah, he hasn't set it up yet. He just got it.
You're gonna have to help him.
Everybody, get the fuck out of here. Everybody. God damn it. Bullshit. But what about, bring up some topics that when I call, because when we have conversations on the phone, they would make great topics. They would make great videos. Because we're just talking. And I think that's, it's awesome, because, it's just like, when we do these videos and stuff like that, we can have topics. Everybody wants to talk about breeding, talk about this, talk about incubation, talk about temps. Not that that's not important, and that's educational by all means. And that's things that we can talk about. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of good information, there's talking about daily stuff, feeding and watering things.
I really wanted you to go more into your personal snake collection.
What do you want to know? What do you want to know? What do you want to know?
No, listen.
What do you want me to
listen? The thing about your personal snake collection that we talked about on the phone, and how you need to get everything straight, you kind of glossed over it. So I don't know if you truly wanted to get that off your chest, or if you just wanted to say, hey, those were my snakes, and move on from it.
On the most part, I have my days. I have my days where I see something, I hear something, I get irritated. On the most part, I'm doing my own thing. I'm doing it on my own. Jason's not part of this. Jason's doing his own thing. He's not even doing retics anymore. At least right now, he's not, that I know of. And if he is, he is. That's so be it. My whole thing about it is that we were connected for a long time together, and that's fine. And now I'm just trying to get to the point where it's me. And it's me. It's my shit. This is what I'm doing. And,
okay, I'm going to be that guy.
I'm not trying to.
I'll be that guy. I know what lines I can't cross and what with you, and I'm not going to cross those lines. So don't get too nervous and sweaty. But the fact of the matter is, for anybody that's going to be watching this, and it's not you new people, It's really not. You can listen to it. You can get some education off of it. But this is more for the crowd that doesn't really talk, but posts a lot on social media. Jason and Reed's Retics. You wouldn't know his name and you wouldn't know who the hell he was if it wasn't for James Mitchell and his animals. That's the only reason Reed's Retics made any headlines and was ever heard about. Jason was doing retics before James was around, but you didn't hear about Reed's Retics. But when James got in the picture and decided to integrate his animals into Jason Reed's facility, and all this production came up, and all of a sudden everybody took notice, but James didn't get the credit because he's a humble guy and figured it was best for the business. That's when people started noticing. And James didn't get one single bit of credit through any of that. It was always Reed's Retics, whether it was at the shows, whether it was on the forums, whether it was on social media. And James sat in the background because at that point it didn't matter to him. Well, it matters now. Jason is gone. He's not going to come back. And he wasn't relevant, and he wouldn't have been relevant if it wasn't for James Mitchell. All those badass animals that you guys saw, and all those pictures that were posted, and those animals you had on with your hands on at the shows, was because James made that happen. And I'm sick of people saying Reed's Retics this and Reed's Retics that. There might have been one or two animals out there that Jason produced from his own stock, but everything that everybody remembers and talks about to this day, they were not Reed's animals. And they never were Reed's animals. And they, unfortunately, all that bloodline and all that stock is gone. And it's no fault of James or whatever. But James is starting from scratch, and he will not have a business partner. He will not be doing all that stuff. He is doing some projects together with people, but it's a completely different situation. James is doing this 100% from scratch on his own, and he's going to be coming back in a big way. And Jason Reed's name should be out of everybody's mouth now. It shouldn't be brought up in threads. And if you want to talk about cool animals, James Mitchell's name's better be on it. There is no Reed's Retics anymore, and that doesn't matter. And there's no Reed line this and Reed line that. James Mitchell's animals, they always were, they always have been, they always will be. And that's what people should take away from this.
I'm trying to make me blush and shit. So what I like to do is I like to keep the water bowls on the left-hand side is what I try to do. And you can keep them on the right or whatever cage. Put them in the middle of your cage if you like. But for whatever reason, I like to set them up on the left side of the cage. Yeah.
It's a good thing you're not getting monetized. Am I bleeding somewhere?
I hope so.
Like, I got blood all over my pants and I don't know where it came from.
Well, it sounds like you got a condition.
I've had a few injuries in my
get
life.
One of your girls' things and stick it up there, and that thing is what it sounds like.
Hey, this is a family program and your son is in the room.
Boy, ear muffin. Shit. God damn it. So goddamn. So what the hell? What the hell? So what now? What now?
Would you like to talk? Would you like to put any input on what I said, or are you just going to avoid it?
Well, I don't know. Look. This is the whole thing about it is like everything you said. What was that? It's true. I'm a humble type of person or whatnot. I always felt like I was part of it. So whatever, you know what I mean? It's different now. I go through difficulties because there was always somebody there. So, when it comes to coming up with ideas about Do I want to breed this? Do I want to breed that? That kind of thing. It's, doing something one way for so long, and now, it's all on you. It's not like you don't forget, how to do things or something like that, but you always tend to second guess yourself and that kind of thing. So I mean, I don't know what I'm. I mean, that's what I'm going through.
This is why I don't bring up our phone conversations. That you're like, we need to do this on here because all of a sudden you backpedal like a mofo.
Because we talk about other shit. We talk about other shit, and I'm like, man, this would be been great if this is like that, but so
Ian, remind your father next time he brings something up that he backpedals on stuff, and then when I try and help him out with what he asks, you can use this in your life too.
Christmas is coming up, boy. Santa ain't bringing you shit. Keep fucking around. Santa ain't bringing you nothing. But I mean, goddamn, we can talk about that shit anytime, all the time. You
just said now's the perfect time.
What?
Did he not? Why don't we bring up stuff we talk on the phone? This is stuff we need to say.
Yeah, but I'm talking about. Oh my god!
We just.
All right, so we talked about that. Now, what else? What else do we talk about on the phone?
We didn't talk about shit. I just went on a rant, and you nodded your head and changed the subject.
Well, yeah, I think it's good that you set your water bowls a certain way. Little OCD about that. God damn it, Chip. God damn it.
I'm always the guy. Always the guy.
Always the guy. Always the guy.
There's 1.5 million things I can bring up, but I do believe this is very important for viewers to see, since this is your channel, your page, or whatever. And we touch on it lightly and we tiptoe around. I'm not going into actually how I feel and how I think other people should feel and the honest to God truth about everything.
I guess it's important that people know my past and whatnot, and understand that I've been around and stuff like that. But it's also important for people to
you literally had in the past month 2 people fucking bring up Reed's retics. There's a point to this. This is where you need to speak up about how you truly feel about the whole situation.
Well, I did. At the very beginning of this bitch. Why? Because I didn't get mad. I didn't get angry.
It's not getting mad. It's explaining stuff.
The reed line of Sulas are my shit. So there's no reed line. That's what the fuck I said.
You need to go in depth, because I can go on the internet and be like, James Mitchell's Sulas are not reed lines. They were always his. But you need to go in depth about how, you're the one that went over to Nerd. You're the one that imported these animals. You're the one that purchased these animals. You had them in your possession, and then you got into a partner. I can go on and on and on here, and I don't want to be the one telling your goddamn story that people need to hear.
Well, I don't understand. What part of it that they didn't understand? They're mine. I bought them. I said, I bought them.
Yes, but you need to tell the story about the animal.
I raised them. When they became adults, I took them up to Jason's. All that Anthrax stuff that was made, all the granite backs, all the granite backs that people actually thought they were Anthrax stuff because they look so wicked looking. My shit came from my animals. All that stuff came from my Anthrax stuff that I made, that I took care of, that I took up there. I bought. James, my shit. I can't get any clearer than that. And the thing about it is, people are still going to say, read this and read that. And when they do, those were my animals.
Yeah, I'm just getting to where you got to explain how you didn't get recognition for this stuff, and now it is the time where that whole chapter is over.
It is over.
And it is time to let the truth out about everything, excluding some details because of out of respect for you. That's why I don't do that. But you need to make sure that it's very well known because, like I just was trying to point out, I can go on the internet all day long and say, those were my. Well, what do you mean? Jason always said that it was Reed's Retics. And when we were at the shows, look what I did. This was my line. That was this, and I do that. Because that's what he did. And that's why all these people don't know shit other than James Mitchell, the old school guy from the forums who is funny as shit.
Well, I am funny. I'm funny as hell. I'm a good time. Come out with me, goddammit. That being said, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, Chip. All right. The Sulas, the fucking, you know what line? What line the Sulas are? This is the Bangarang fucking Mitchell line Sulas, bitches. Y'all keep a lookout on that shit. Bangarangs. Goddamn. Shirts, t-shirts, caps, underwear, all that shit. Coming to you shortly.
Can you see in your camera? Can you see in your camera your kid going?
Fucking bumper stickers, all that shit. Goddamn, pay for it and I'll get Bangarang Sula tatted on my ass. Huh?
It's so ridiculous, the point of all that, too, besides the line of it, is the question itself. Is that a read line, or is that a bang tang, or is that, you know, a whatever? It's a Sula that was imported from Sulawesi very long time ago, when nobody gave a shit what exact region in the country those animals came from. And most people, no matter what they say, unless you were over there in Indonesia on that mainland or whatever island the animal came off of, you don't know for a fact where that animal was picked up from, because some trapper, skin trader, hunter, or village person looking to make that extra 2 cents picked that animal up from, that then traveled to 4 different islands before it got to an exporter and shipped over here. You have no idea unless you physically had your hands off of. And it doesn't matter how shit you hear the stories about people getting screwed 30 years ago from imports. It's a third world country that stuff still happens today. You think a skin trader gives a crap of where he caught it? He's not going to tell you, especially when he catches it and takes it to another guy. That animal probably changed hands 5 times before it ended up on the exporter over to wherever it came from.
Well, that's his money hole too. You know, you start telling other people, then other people show up on that island, getting in on his money.
And that's it. You have no idea truly where it came from unless you physically had that hands on that animal and have evidence of it.
Well, to touch on that, I was extremely ignorant years and years ago. I mean, not that I'm not now, when it comes to certain things, because there's so much new stuff that we're learning when it comes to locality, and there's so much other stuff that I wish that we could learn. But the whole Sula thing, I was, the reason why I say I was ignorant is because, now we understand that, okay, Sula's a nice size island, right? We agree with that,
it's one of the bigger islands out of everything. Yeah. Of the thousands of islands there are that could hold reticulated pythons, right. It's one of the bigger ones.
The retics that are on the northern side of it could look different, a little bit different from the ones on the south, the east, west, whatever the case may be. I think we can agree on that now. Now, at one point in time, I was like, hey, a Sula looks like this. This is what a Sula looks like. That's what they all look like. and by all means, that's not. I think we can say that's not true. Um, the majority of the Sulas um, that came in years ago, on the most part, no matter who has them, I think we can agree that on the most part, they pretty much look very similar.
Yeah, but you
Possibly,
don't know if they were Sulas, Bhutans, or just really big Salayers.
well, true, but I mean, but what I'm getting at is like on the most part, they pretty much kind of look similar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh, and so I guess if somebody was able to get some now and they looked totally different than what the normal Sula that we have here, we could call that something. Maybe not a line, but I don't know. The West Sula, whatever the fuck, or whatever the case may be. I get that, and there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. But I think with what we have now, with the things that we have here now, and the people, the stuff that we're working with, uh, I don't, the whole line shit doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Is all I'm getting at.
No, and that's the thing too. You've got all this stuff, and we've touched on it in other videos, but it's been disproven to the fucking nth degree, and why it still goes on in the internet, atmosphere is beyond me. Sula has had this thing with a few people. I've never bought into it. But that's just because I go a little bit harder in the paint than other people. But the original in the book, way back when you're a kid in the library in the 70s and 80s, and they show the 32-foot reticulated python record, supposedly came from Sulawesi. And holy cow, retics get 30 foot long, and it's a wives' tale, and there was no proof of that. Look at the date that it happened. If you read the backstory of the original report, I mean, it's crazy now to even consider that even valid, and for people to claim to this day that Sulawesi is the biggest locality of reticulated python there is asinine beyond belief, because the proven documented records of all the big snakes over 20 foot, Sula's not up there at all. Do they get big? Do they grow fast? Absolutely.
I was one of those, that because of that years ago. There's a myth. There's this myth. You've heard me say this so many times. Like there's this myth that surrounds this locality, and
it is, but it's
the legend of the Sula. And I'm not knocking it, because I think people who remember me or who know me understand that this is one of my I love that locality. The coloration and the pattern and the myth, the legend, all that stuff around it. I love that locality. Love it. But over the years, we've learned, there's Sumatrans get big. There's some Malaysians, there's some big some bitches. And the whole thing about it is that can Sulas get large? Yeah. And you know what? There's a very good possibility if we were able to snap our fucking fingers and go to Sula and we put in the work, that we could possibly find a big son bitch. Will it be 30 foot? Probably not, but we could probably find some big ass Sulas, just like we can probably go find some big ass Malaysians, some big ass, you know what I mean? And I guarantee you, I put money on it that we could probably find some small adult Sulas, just like I'm pretty sure we can find some small adult of the other localities that get big. because it's at the end of the day, yes, we have localities that are known for getting big. All right. There's certain localities that are they, these islands produce large animals, but they also produce smaller animals. There's something, maybe there's something genetic with whatever. Maybe there was something, some of these smaller
It's
animals
evolutionary. All these islands are volcano islands. There's islands that are literally can be separated, and you could go over one mountain or one volcano and it's a completely different ecosystem on these islands. And these animals are not going to get that big on one side of the mountain to the other side of the mountain. You're finding snakes in a couple miles into a cave. You're finding stuff on the beach. You're finding stuff up in trees. There is so many different factors here. And the more people are westernizing these islands, and everything's, the giants are leaving. But genetics are there. Can it happen? Absolutely. Just like, could there be a 25-foot anaconda? There's a very good possibility. Have we seen a 20-foot anaconda? No, we have not. But the Amazon is enormous, and we haven't even touched on it. But when you're talking about island locality, and I'm not talking mainland, Malaysian and stuff like that, Taiwan, all these different areas that do not have water all the way around them. When you're talking about an island that's fairly big, you're pretty limited on growth rate, especially with habitat loss. Maybe 100, 200 years ago, that was a possibility, but you're not going to have the genetics there anymore. You're not seeing a 25-foot python. It'll be a miracle if we ever find one, with the deforestation and the building and everything else like that. Skin traders are killing animals every day by the thousands. So if you do have that genetic potential, it's probably getting killed before it can reach its maximum growth rate. We are now cut off here from any new blood coming in. So if you're buying a Sula, with maybe the exception of one or two people in this country, you're not going to get a snake that's probably going to hit 20 foot. If you have someone selling you a Sula and you don't know how big the parents are, probably not going to hit 20 foot. They're beautiful animals. They're still smart animals. They're still awesome animals. But the legend's dead. And don't buy an animal also unless you can handle an animal that can potentially get 20 feet long. Most of your retics are maxing out at 16, 17 foot, especially with the way people keeping it. You're lucky if you get that.
But that's a large animal. Let's not sugarcoat it. That's a large animal. If you're lucky enough to have an animal grow 16, 17 foot, that's a large animal. And it's an amazing thing to see. So just saying. I think these animals are beautiful, and I'm not, you can divide the retic, community, because you have, I only like mainland stuff. I only like, there's some of us that only like bigger animals, and then there's some of us that, like, the smaller, the SDs and dwarf stuff, and I love retics. I love them all. I think they're beautiful. All of them. I think they're amazing. Period. I don't care what locality. I have by all means, there are certain localities and certain whatever that I may like more than others, but I think they're all amazing. By all means. I don't have any like I used to, but at one point in time, we probably had the largest. I'm not even gonna say probably. I'm pretty sure we had probably the largest collection of dwarf shit here in the nation. Probably, if not, it was one. It was pretty goddamn close. Uh, and I'm not bragging nothing like that. I'm just saying that. I mean, I wish we had all that shit back. I love that stuff. Um, I don't know. But that's another story right there. All I'm saying, and then we could go hours and hours talking about dwarf shit, all the bullshit that happened back in the day, and hell, even today, people argue, you know, about dwarf stuff and all this other thing, you know, because everybody's, you know, experts and whatnot. I can only touch and touch on things and talk about my own experience and everything, but you know,
And I'm not a dwarf guy. I'm not a super dwarf guy, but I am, you know, a science guy, and I can't speak of what people are doing with it. You know, I think Garrett has got that stuff locked down. I have a lot of respect for that guy. I like him a lot.
hell of a man right there. He's a hell of a guy.
Oh, he is. And I think his focus on it is great. I generally care about your bigger island and mainland type animals. But there's nothing wrong with it if you can house it properly and you interact with it. I hate people that are scared of these animals. If you're willing to learn and get over your fear, go ahead and get a baby. If you're getting into it and you're scared of these animals and you're keeping them, get rid of them. Get them to somebody that can take care of them properly. Get them to somebody that respects them. Stop keeping stuff just to say you have it. These animals deserve a lot of respect. And it's just like when people bitch about getting puppies for Christmas and they get dumped. You know, don't get these animals for the wrong reasons. They're too incredible. We're losing our rights. And, you know, I enjoy them too much to see them get into the wrong hands, which a lot of people have them that shouldn't.
Oh, definitely. If people look, if some of y'all out there, if y'all are compensating for something, look, what you need to do is just accept that you have a small baby dick, okay? And keeping large snakes are not going to help it, okay? Just accept it and figure out how to make it work for yourself, okay? That's all I'm saying. Ian, you man, you want to say something? Hop in here. Say something, man. Tell him. Tell him. Fuck bitches get money. Something. Say something, son. Okay, that was Ian, everybody. That was Ian. All right. Good talk. Good.
Shady Oaks, Ian. Shady Oaks. Nothing.
I'm kicking both of y'all's asses. Bullshit.
You don't even want to talk to me about North Dakota. So what are you going to do?
Why would I want to talk to you? North Dakota sucks. What is it? What the fuck? What's the weather like there?
It's like 8 degrees now, I think.
See, it sucks. It sucks. Nobody fuck North Dakota. I don't know. You live in a shit place. I feel sorry for you. Hey, you're happy, whatever. I'm glad y'all happy. It's a horrible place. No trees. Nothing.
But we have dinosaurs.
Yes. That would be cool to go up there and dig and find some goddamn bones. That would be cool. But what you want to talk about anything else? You want to?
I'm good on my end.
Okay, so I think we're gonna cut it right now. Definitely going to be making more content. I don't care. We're gonna whether it's I'm getting on here and just rambling about something. I don't care if it's only 20 minutes. But definitely going to be making more content. Sorry that it's taken so long. I appreciate everybody that's still hanging around. thank you for subscribing. Please subscribe. Hit likes, please. Hit the notification, all that stuff. Share. Send us messages if there's something. A lot of people don't do that, and the whole thing about it is send us stuff. If you want us to touch on something, let's talk about it. It doesn't matter if it's controversial. It doesn't matter. Let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation.
If you want to see Ian talk more in videos,
yeah,
send us a message.
You want to see Ian handle a snake on video or something, whatever the case may be. That being said, hey, I appreciate everything, and man, we're out, and we'll see and talk to everybody later.
Have a good night.
Bye.